Erica and Sharon are sisters who began their grief journey in 2006 when Erica's 10-year-old son Austin drowned. Together, they participated in a grief education program, were so moved by this experience, they studied and became specialists so they could help the brokenhearted find recovery. In 2015, tragedy struck their family once again when Erica's oldest son Donovan was killed in a motorcycle accident. Erica and Sharon are committed to sharing their experiences of love, loss, and healing through this podcast. Now your grief specialists, Sharon and Erica.
So 2 years ago, I was sitting in my office and I was working on a blog and my phone rang. And one of the most beautiful women that I have ever met was on the other end. And she said, I looked at your face and you look like an angel and I need help. And this is my friend Sabrina that I want to introduce to you guys. And she has introduced me to the most amazing mom, Joy. And so, guys, I want you to just experience this with me. This is Sabrina. Sabrina, tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself. But more importantly, I want you to share joy with us.
Okay. My name's Sabrina. I'm 100% Italian. I say that because it's very rare, especially in California. I have 3 children. I have a boy and a girl and a boy, Brandon, Brianna, and Brody. They're all the BRs. Didn't plan it like that, but then it just kind of happened. So yeah. I was raised in a Italian family. They spoke Italian. I took Italian in high school, but I hated it and dropped out and took Spanish. My mom and I have been close my whole life. Her name is Joy. Since I was a little girl. Yeah. So very rare to have a relationship the way I did, where we thought the same. I would think about her and then she would call me. So I had the relationship. I have an older sister who's like, I think 8 years older than me. She's always been the problem child, got in trouble, ran away, things like that. And I was complete opposite, where I didn't understand why you would run away from such a loving home. It made no sense to me. It's like, why are you running away? You have everything you want, great parents. It just didn't make sense to me. So I was the opposite. There was a lot of turmoil in the house because of my sister. My sister had drug abuse. My mom was there for her, even when she hated my mom. And I was a support from my mom then, where I would say to her, you can't change her, you can just be there for her. So unfortunately, I had to push my whole things aside when I was in high school, and I actually was anorexic. My mom didn't know because she was so busy worrying about my sister that the school called and said, your daughter is 86 pounds. And she didn't understand. She thought I was just because I was in dance and cheerleading. She figured I just was active. So it was just that I think maybe I was reaching for attention. I'm sorry. But anyways, I had the most wonderful mom. It's weird for a teenager to want to spend time with a mother. I had lots of friends, but I wanted to take my mom to the movies. I remember a time where I put her hair in a ponytail and I said, try to look young. And she's like, I am young. I was in high school.
She was a feisty mom, though. She was feisty.
She was. We went to the movies, and somebody was in front, and we were laughing. We were kids, and my mom had us in front of her. And it was a cheap theater. My mom used to put the candy in her purse because she didn't want to spend money on the candy. She would take a canned soda with her, And she would open it, and you'd hear, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, soda, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I'm not spending, $3 on a soda. She was outspoken beyond. She told me that I needed to find my voice and I needed to stand up for myself, and no one else would if I didn't. So that was her personality. If I was in trouble, she was there. I would say, Mom, this is happening. And she would be like, no one's going to do that to you. But back to the movies. So some guys were yelling about me and my cousins, saying, you guys are loud. My mom's like, why don't you turn around and enjoy your $1.50, matinee movie? And so no one said anything to her. She was just, but then yet she was the most wonderful person. Like she would be in line and she'd say, do I have a sign on me that says talk to me? Because everybody would talk to her and say, oh, do you know about how you make this? Or, and I would be in the store with her. I'd like, everybody draws, they're all drawn to her because she's so wonderful. And I was so lucky. And I always knew I was blessed. I never took it for granted. I always knew I had a special mother. There was times I had a dog and my dog died. And I remember crying. And my mom said to me, oh my God, what's going to happen if something happens to me? And I said, don't say that. Don't ever say that. And she's like, Sabrina, that's how life is. And I said, no, it's not. Don't say that. I don't want to hear it. So we've been close my whole life. I moved away to Miami when I was 21. I was crazy. I just moved. I met somebody and I moved with him and broke my mom's heart. Because she said, how could you leave? She made me paranoid. She used to call and tell me how many sharks were in the ocean when I was jet skiing, and she made me paranoid. So my husband, it was my boyfriend at the time, my husband now, but he used to say, don't answer the phone. Don't answer the phone. She'd say, oh my God, don't be on your cell phone in the rain. I'm like, why would I be on that? She's gonna get electrocuted. And she made me paranoid. She said, don't take a shower when it's storming out. I'm like, why? You'll get electrocuted. So she was so worried about something happening to me. And I now understand what she meant, because life is fragile.
Yeah.
And I know she wouldn't have made it if I died first. It would have been too hard for her.
So thank you, Sabrina.
Yes. Oh, what a beautiful share. I love it. I love joy.
Well, first of all, I have fallen in love with Joy, and I tell you all the time, your mom and I would have been best friends. I just know it because she didn't take crap from anybody, and she was a little petite thing. And so you see her, she would be the first one to the fight. But one of the things that I really wanted you to share is that what I've learned about their relationship, Erica, is that it wasn't just the normal mother-daughter relationship, it was the best friend relationship.
Right.
But what I have been helping Sabrina with to understand is that she didn't just lose a mom, she lost a friend and a best friend. And that it's been a second layer to the grief, which I think a lot of people don't realize, because the society will tell us, well, she lived a good life.
Yeah.
She's in a better place. The living must go on.
Yeah.
And all of those comments Sabrina will share with you have made her so frustrated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's certain people I can talk to still, like I will bring up stuff, but I felt that boundary go up pretty much after about 4 months. It was like, okay, I'm done talking about your mom. And it's like, what? Even close friends of mine, I could feel the difference. Almost like a barrier would come up when I would talk about it. They'd say, oh, I know, it's so sad. So anyways, and it's like, anyways, and I would say to myself, they've never had that kind of a loss. They don't know what it feels like. I didn't know. I thought when I lost my grandfather that was a big loss, and it was, but it's nothing when you're that invested in a person to lose.
Right.
It's like your arm is off, it's like, how do I function without my arm? It's gone. And what do I do? I felt like a lost child, truly, like wandering around, like, where's the person who's going to tell me, you got to do this, you got this, it's gone now. So people don't get it unless they've experienced a really deep grieving.
Right. And that was one of the biggest challenges for me with losing Donovan. Donovan was my friend.
Yeah.
And we had a special relationship that, it's like you can appreciate when your children become young adults. It's not that you're not having to, coach them on everything, take a shower, brush your teeth, do your homework. Yeah. You have real conversation, and we would text each other all the time, and we watched shows together, and he would bring me flowers at work. Like all of the my coworkers would be like, oh my God, your son is so amazing. We were close. So when you lose that connection, it is like part of yourself is missing because I'm sure you and your mom had, little things that were special just to the two of you. And that's how it was. It's like, I didn't have that. And I have still, all the urge to do those, but no place to put it. Because no one gets it like he did.
No one gets
and
it.
Like,
I would look at her and she would look at me and we would just know what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And we would just like, everybody would be, oh, what are you guys doing? I know we say nothing. And they'd be like, oh, I'm sure nothing, but we both got it. And so I was telling Sharon, so many times I was at work and I would just go to UPS and I would FedEx and I call her and she'd go, what you doing? I'm like, going to UPS. How's your day? Like we talk like 6-7 times a day. It was actually, sometimes my husband would be like, all right, can we talk? And I would talk to him and I'm like, I'm not getting the same satisfaction. I have to call my mom, she was my person,
Yeah. So there was another aspect to this. And because you brought it up, I'm going to bring it in now. Yeah. Your husband and your mom were best friends too.
Yes, they were. And it didn't start like that. When I went out with him, I remember the cell phone ringing and him saying, oh, who's calling you? It was like our first couple dates. And I'm like, it's my mom. And he said, sure, it's probably another guy. I'm like, no, it's my mom. And I gave him the phone. And now, of course, he laughs, because it's like, I never knew how you called your mother on a date. Because she was like, what's he like? What's he, what's he, she wanted to know everything. And when I bartended and I used to come home, she would make me call her on the freeway. And I said, Mom, I'm like 3 a.m. I don't care. I want to make sure you get home safely. And she would say, keep the phone in your purse while you run up the stairs. And I'm telling you, this is crazy stuff she did. And I would run up the stairs with the phone bouncing around just so she knew I got in the apartment okay when I lived alone. So she was just, and my husband and her became best friends because his mom, he didn't have the relationship I did. And he actually used to say, your mom is everything I wish my mom was. She listens. She truly listened where some people aren't good listeners. She was a good listener, good talker. And you got really good advice. If you were wrong, she'd say, Sabrina, you're wrong. That's not what and I didn't like to hear that, but she'd be like, you need to apologize. And I was like, man, I hate she's like that. Or when she was right, I didn't want to tell her. I'm like, shit, my mom's right again. Sorry, language. Oh, my mom's wrong, right again, So they became, like I said, they became best friends, and it was easy to become best friends with her because she was just that kind of person.
I love that.
That secondary loss, which is there, it becomes so strong. So Sabrina, I hate to take you back to this, but you picked up the phone and you called me. Here's my question for you. Prior to calling me, what was your plan? How were you going to grieve? What did you know about grief?
I knew not much about grief. I knew that when someone died, people cried. My mom cried when her dad died. She didn't hide it, but she would pull herself together around me where she would cry and then she'd say, I'm okay, babe. And she'd stop crying. So I knew that it hurt her. I hated seeing her hurt. I wish I could take the pain away from her. I would rather have been in pain than her. So when her mom died, my grandma lived till 88, which is great. I remember just being there for her and making jokes with her and trying to help her get over the humps. But that's the only thing I knew about grief is that people cried and then they got over it. They did, because my mom showed me that she got over it, even though I don't know if that's true now that I see it, that I've gone through it. I don't think she really ever got over it, especially her dad. She was very close to him like her and I were.
Yeah. So this title of this show is called Mother's Day Without a Mom. And you and I were talking yesterday. Sabrina and I talk quite often because she makes me laugh. But she said she was just in the grocery store. Erica, you and I were just talking about this. She was in the grocery store and it was an advertisement for wine, correct?
Yes.
Sabrina was like, buy your mom some wine for Mother's Day. It's like, we haven't even gotten to Mother's Day, but the message is already out there. The reminder that this Mother's Day, I don't have a mom.
Yeah.
And she was sharing that with me yesterday.
I saw it and my heart sank. And I said, oh gosh, that's coming up again. Where in the past, I was so happy when I became a mother. And I thought, oh, Mother's Day is an extra day for me to, tell him how he's got to spoil me. But it changed. That when my mom died, everything changed, right? different. Everything's different. Everything. I don't know how people say, oh, just, get over it, or, move on. You can't, you're changed forever. And being in that reminder of the Mother's Day, it sucks because it's going to happen and it's going to be all over TV. People are going to talk about it. And I don't have a mom. And I saw somebody say perfect gift for Mother's Day today on the HSN, and perfect. And I just sit there and I stare at the TV and I think, I'm not sending her something. And I have a reminder on my email, sent me this wine country place. I used to send my mom wine and, and candles, and she would say, stop doing that. Oh, I love it, but it sent me a reminder, Joy, don't forget Joy on Mother's Day. And I'm like, oh my God, how could I forget her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. Time keeps moving and those days come whether we want them to or not. And people don't realize, for people who have lost, it rips your heart out. Yes. It will rip your heart out.
From the day your mom died to the first Mother's Day, I don't even think, was it even a month?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't even a month.
No.
But then you and I were talking at that point, and I said, hey, you have to come up with a plan. You have to come up with a plan. And so you and your family got together and you did something really beautiful. And I know it was really hard, but share with us what you did. What was your plan?
I had no plan until I talked to you. You helped me put together something. I didn't think I needed to do anything but just be depressed. But instead, we bought some balloons. Yeah. We all wrote messages to my mom, each of my children, because they were so close to my mother. Her reason for living was me and the kids. Truth. Yeah. So we wrote messages to her, and we went down to the beach. We stuck it in a balloon that said, all these pretty things on the outside about how much we loved her and missed her. And we went to the beach because she had hip replacement surgery, so she could go to the beach and run again. And so to me, she would be running on the beach. So we went to the beach. We released the balloon, and the balloon it kept on going, and it was kind of weird. We were outside watching it, we were running, following it, all of us, right? And it went up, and it kept on going past the clouds, and we actually filmed it because our mouths are dropping. And it's funny, this guy said, oh, you guys need to get by? And I'm like, no, my mom just passed and I'm watching. He's almost started crying. He said, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm watching the balloon we did, and it just kept on going into the air. And I just felt like she was free when I watched the balloon. And I tried to understand she's not in pain anymore. And, she's free like the balloon. So, yeah.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that. That was absolutely beautiful. So you and your mom had an amazing tradition, and I really want Joy to pop off on this podcast. That's why I'm going back to it. They would drive in their car every morning, and as she was driving to school, she would call her mom, and mom had to talk to, they called her mom, the grandkids called her mom.
M-U-M.
And they all had to talk to mom on their way to school, and she checked in with each one of them. And I love that story about her.
That's so cute.
We all talked to her.
I think as a grandmother, I share a lot with Sabrina. No, Sabrina, that was important to her. She loved that. She loved every aspect of it. So they all talked to her, and they were all close with her, right?
Yes. I actually felt guilty. Some days that were rough in the morning, I just wanted to blast music, and I felt guilty. I said, oh, I can't do that. I need to talk to my mother because one day she won't be here. I had it. I was always afraid of losing her. When I saw her like limp or something, I was like, I just got scared. Like, what am I going to do? So I would say to myself when I would drive, you need to call her because one day you won't be able to. And, I would tell that to people and they'd say, oh, come on, she'll be around a long time. But I just was always scared because I knew she had problems. But the kids all loved to talk to her. I remember Brody called her mom, and she said, Mom, am I mummified? Why are you calling me that? So she was just always so funny. But so she said that, and but we all just, every one of us was so close in our own way. We had our own special relationship. My daughter leaned on her when I couldn't understand my daughter, and my mom had dealt with my sister. So my mom was there for Brianna. Brandon and her were really close. Brandon is a very responsible one. Him and I shared the same humor that my mom and I did. So he'll grab my arm and start laughing and stuff. And my mom used to love it. She used to say, "Oh gosh, I'm so happy Brandon is kind of like me, for you." And I would say, why? I never, you know what I mean? Like she was always wanting to make sure I was going to be okay if something happened to her. But yeah, and Brody too. Brody, I worked all the time, and my mom and dad had him at the house like 3 or 4 times a day, a week, and he stayed there with them, and they actually saw him walk first because I was always working. So they all had their own relationship with her.
So yesterday you shared with me, I'm sorry, Erica, I keep cutting you off. I didn't know. Yesterday you shared with me about how sometimes you feel guilty when you're even enjoying a yoga.
I do. I would, I went to Catalina a few weeks ago, and I haven't done anything really. I know there was COVID that came along, but even before that, just my mom knocked the wind out of me. So I didn't really want to do much. But we went to Catalina, and there was moments of this, oh my gosh, like this joyous feeling. And then all of a sudden I feel this, like, I don't know, heaviness. And I'm like, oh my God, that happened. My mom's gone, and it's just crazy. It's like, I only feel like I can enjoy so much. And then I'm like, she can't enjoy this. She's not here. So why are you enjoying it? It's how I feel. It's almost like a guilt.
And it happens a lot, right, Erica?
I actually
the living goes on.
Yeah.
And then we feel like we shouldn't be.
Right. You feel like you should be, because also that's what society has portrayed for us in when it comes to mourning and grief. You put the black clothes on and you stay very somber and you don't laugh and you don't have fun, but that's not the reality, because you have kids, you have a husband, you can't, you know what I mean? Life does go on. And so the best thing that you could do is try to find a way to ease your pain, like you found with Sharon, and can make a connection and try to work through it the best way that you can, because you're such a lively person. I mean, I haven't even met you, but I can feel it coming through the screen. So it's like, I know that's not in your nature to be, somber all the time,
I love living. I always love living. And one thing my mom and I always said is treat people the way you want to be treated. I tell my kids that. I lead with, it sounds like a poem, or, I do lead with kindness and love. I'm a loving person. I would do anything for anybody I care about. And sometimes I think, what did I do, God? What did I do? I have friends that their grandparents are still alive. What did I do? How did I lose my mother? How did this happen? Why? And then my father's very difficult. They were married since they were 15. And he's very difficult. And sometimes I know it's terrible, but I think, I have the difficult parent. I have this I have to deal with now. And I'm not wishing my father, any harm or anything. I love my father, but without my mother, it's just so much harder, to deal with everything.
So if you were talking to somebody right now that had experienced the loss of their mom, what advice would you give?
You can't do it alone.
Yeah.
I knew when my mom died, when she died, I knew I needed help, because it was bigger than me. And I grabbed my phone, started looking through it, and I found an angel. I mean it. When I saw her picture, I said to my husband, she's going to make everything better. I could feel it. It's as if my mom told me to get on that phone, and I found her, and my sister did it on her own, and she's still a hot mess. My dad buried himself in, different things. All my family, everybody did different things but me. I wanted to take it head on. I wanted to find out how do I live? Like, I don't just want to survive. I want to live. Right. And when I wrote her, and then when she called me, I don't remember when it was, when she called me, I was saying to myself, I'll do anything to just stop this pain.
Yeah.
Because it's so bad. I remember laying in the bed, and my husband coming in, he was scared. And I said, I think you need to the hospital. I think I need to be checked in. So it's mental, because I don't want to live anymore. And he said, you have kids, you have me. And I said, I know, but I don't have my mom, and I just don't know how to do it. And like I said, when I saw Sharon and I met her and I hugged her, she hugged me so tight, and and it just felt like, okay, this is it. I'm going to be okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the share. That moment of feeling like you just want to die is so real.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't want to be here anymore. It is so, that's the grief and its rawness, right? We both have experienced that, and we know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon, and that's part of what we need to be talking about with people. We need to be talking about that and letting them know that it's real. So we're going to dedicate this show to Joy. What do you want to bring up? What do you want to say
about her? Oh
yeah.
My goodness. She lived her life to the fullest.
Yeah.
She would go to the movies and say, extra butter, extra butter, extra butter. And I'm like, Mom, how much butter are you going to
I told you she would be my friend.
She didn't care. In fact, I have to share one funny thing. At the theater, she put so much butter on it, the whole thing fell, right? The whole bag fell, right? And I got up to go help her to get some napkins, and I slipped on the butter and went down the aisle. And she couldn't get up to help me because she was laughing so hard. She was on the ground laughing while I was laying there in a pile of butter.
Oh, I love it.
Cleanup people come. So she was a force to be reckoned with. She was spontaneous. She was assertive. She was loving. She was caring. She just did what she wanted to do, and no matter what, she did what she wanted to do. And she was a loving person and a happy person, and she lived up to her name, Joy. We were blessed to have her in our life. She always believed in family and keeping the family together. She had tons of friends. Everybody loved her. And like I said, she was just lived for the moment. She didn't think about things. She didn't say, well, that she'd say, yeah, Mom, okay, yeah, give me pancakes with extra whipped cream, or a salad with extra blue cheese. And I said, you can't even see the lettuce. She said, it's perfect. So she just was all about, some people don't do that. I'm not like that. And so she just kind of brought people out of their comfort zone. And it's just, the world's sadder without her. I'm sadder without her.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, what a beautiful tribute. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Sabrina, thank you so much for sharing your joy with us.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
In my life. Thank you, Erica.
You're going to help so many people. Thank you. All right, friends. I hope that hearing Joy's story has made a difference in your life, and knowing that there is true healing out there, and it is painful, but there is true healing. Thank you for allowing us to share joy with you over this.
Thank you for having me, and for me sharing my story with you, and for all the hard work you both do. I know you both work hard, and you both are so good at what you do, and you just can't do it alone. I don't believe so. I think if I never had met Sharon, I think I would not be in the place I am today. I don't think I could function normally. So I'm blessed to have both of you, doing this for everybody.
Thank you. Hi, friends. Erica Honore here with Healing Starts with the Heart. Sharon and I are so glad you joined us for another great episode of our podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We want to let you know, for more information, you can go to our website at healingstartswiththeheart.com. There you will find not only today's podcast, but all of our podcasts, along with our blogs, the information on the programs that we offer, and the Griever's Guide, which is something Sharon and I put together to document how we came to be your grief specialists. We also have a quiz to take to identify if you are truly grieving. And if you want to talk specifically with either Sharon or myself, you can schedule an appointment there. You will also find a place to join our private Facebook group at Hope, Heal, and Recover. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great day, friends.